Hello students, myself Shrikant Sen from George Group of Colleges. This is my class 5. Paper is cyber security and paper code is BCA N501. Okay, we'll start with different types of threats. The first one is unauthorized access. Access is accessing some information from an organizational servers that somebody is not supposed to access. Say accessing all user ID passwords stored in the server. Suppose I have a user ID password that is stored in Facebook server. You have a user ID and password that is also stored in the Facebook server. Now if a third person can get access to our user ID and password without informing us or informing Facebook, then that is the concept of unauthorized access. Next one is data stolen, data managed and data modified. Suppose when you get your result in the website, you can see that result, but can you change that result? If you can change that result, that is the concept of data is modified and damaged, or data is stolen. What is stolen? Suppose by some way you are able to delete some data that is stored in the web server. That is the concept of data is stolen. Or you can download all the information that is stored in the server. That is also the concept of data is stolen. Cyber terrorism means cyber criminals attack critical infrastructure like electric plants, nuclear plants, oil refineries, and so on. Now, in this COVID situation, you will find that many hospitals are depending on robots. Correct? In many countries like US, China, and Russia, and all these robots are controlled through a remote signals. Now, cyber terrorism means a hacker can control all the robots in a particular hospital and make them behave appropriately. That means now robots will listen to your commands, the hacker's command, not the commands of the authorized person. So this is the concept of cyber terrorism. Natural disasters like hurricanes, storms, flood, earthquake. So these are all kinds of threats. Malware, that means a malicious software is put in your mobile phone or in the website that can snip some data and can send that data to a particular site or to a particular person. You find that few days back many softwares are banned by Indian government because they are sniffing data from your mobile phone and sending it to server that is hosted in China. So these are kind of malicious activities. Next one is denial of service. Denial of service means, say when the result is published, you are a student and you try to open that Macaut website, but it is not opened. It says that server error. Why? Because when the result is published, say 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs of students try to access that website, where the capacity of the website is supposed 2 lakhs. So it can handle maximum 2 lakhs request, whereas 3 lakhs request came to that server. So what will happen? Server will stop and will stop responding. And though I am a legitimate student and studied is in Macau, I need to check my result, but I am denial of that services and I cannot check my result because the server is crashed. This is the concept of denial of services. Next one is vulnerability. Most systems have vulnerabilities of some kind. However, it does not mean that the systems are too flawed for usability. So it can be defined into three ways, two basic ways. One is security level, it is low, medium and high. Another one is exploit range, it is local or remote. We'll learn these details in the latter part of the syllabus, but as for now, just learn the concept of vulnerability. Okay, next one is target of evaluation, operating system. Suppose I am attacking a browser. Now a new version of browser is released by say Google, Chrome version 56. And my target of evaluation is I'll try to hack Chrome version 56 to find some problem. If I find some problem and report it to Google, Google may give me some money, and that will be rectified in the version 57. So 56 has a problem, it is solved in the 57. Now my question is, why new versions of operating system is released? Say KitKat, Lollipop, Marshmallow, Oreo. Why this kind of different versions of Androids are present? Because every version has some problem that is rectified in the next version. So there is a concept of target of evaluation. Web server, website, application software, local area network, hardware, Wi-Fi network. All these are example of target of evaluation. Next one is different types of attacks. Now there are more than 100 types of attacks possible, but I am just mentioning few. That is, the first one is a buffer overflow attack. Buffer overflow attack means, suppose every character array has a capacity to hold some value. Like in this problem, I have shown a character array, say S1. Now S1 can store maximum 10 characters, correct? When I tried to store BCA, it is possible. But when I try to store, I am presently teaching BCA students. Obviously, the size of this I am presently teaching BCA student is more than size of 10. So what I am trying here, I am trying to store some value in that variable where the size of that value is more than the capacity of the variable. The capacity is maximum 10, but I am trying to store 25. So this is the concept of buffer overflow attack. Next one is brute force attack. Now every website has an admin page, correct? Now it can be admin.php, it can be admin login.php, it can be admin underscore login.php, administrator.php, admin area.php, sysadmin.php, many things possible. So with the software, I need to find what is the admin page of that site. So the software will try all permutation combinations with the admin keyword with some prefix and postfix. The prefix is say sysadmin, postfix is say admin login, correct? So this kind of words will be attached to that site with the extension .php, and we'll try to find what is the possible admin page. So this is the concept of brute force attack. In a simple way, suppose I told you that my mobile phone password is a single character, correct? Assume for now. So I'm not telling you this one. What is the character? Now we'll try with A, failure. We'll try with B, failure. We'll try with C, failure. We'll try with D, E, M. Ultimately, what you find, it is broke. It can be broken with the character S, correct? So you tried with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and ultimately you got a bingo in S. So this is the concept of brute force attack. That means try all possibilities. Next one is account lockout attack. Now think of a simple way. I have a bank account in State Bank of India. I give my user ID and I give a wrong password. It will say the password is wrong. Again you give a wrong password. Again it will give a message that only one attempt left, because for a security point of view, I am thinking that you are not the actual user, correct? So again I give a user ID and again wrong password. So what will happen? You will find that the State Bank of India locked your State Bank account for say 1 hour. That means you cannot open that account in the next 1 hour. So what will happen? You cannot access that bank account and can transfer money or can check your balance. So this is called the account lockout attack. Though I don't know your password, but what I did, I achieved a concept. The concept is I make it locked. I cannot use it because I am a hacker. But I also succeed and denied you to access that website. So this is the concept of account lockout attack. Next one is log tampering attack. Now what is log tampering attack? Whenever somebody enters into the website, the person give a impression that is stored in the log, correct? If you enter into a particular website, it remembers from which IP address which user entered into that website. Now log tampering means somehow you enter into the log and erase that all data, correct? So that there is no clue remain in that log file which IP address is responsible for entering into the website and which user is responsible for entering into that website. So that is the concept of log tampering attack. Next one is examples of different types of attack. The first one is dictionary attack. In dictionary attack, the attacker generates a text file with full of commonly used password or a list of words that are related to that person. Like suppose you want to attack my Gmail password. So what will you will find my name, my son's name, my wife's name, my date of birth, my pet name, my school name, my college name, my working area's name. So this is the concept of dictionary attack. You make a file with all possible things that is related to that person and try to attack that user ID or password with that file. That is the concept of dictionary attack. Next is example of different kinds of exploit. Exploit is a small software code specifically written to uncover the bugs in the application. Exploits consist of a shell code plus small code that is inserted into vulnerable application. Now there are three examples of this: stack overflow exploit, heap corruption exploit, and integer bug exploit. Exploit is basically a small code, correct, that you write so that it can twist the actual software and can get some extra advantages from that software. That is the concept of exploit. Next one is classification of security attacks: insider attack, outside attack, active attack, and another one is the passive attack. Insider attack and outsider attack. Insider attack means an authorized person is accessing system resources but in such a way that is not approved by the authority concerned or system admin. That means suppose I work in organization and being an employee of the organization I can access certain part of the system. Now I know how to access the other person's resources. Like suppose my name is Joy, correct, and I joined organization in the year 2000. So my password will be joy2020, correct. Now suppose you know there is a person called Amit, and Amit entered into the organization in 2005. So you may try with this option Amit 2005, correct. So this way you can get access. So this is the concept of insider attack. Outsider attack means authorized access or access. Like a simple thing, I never subscribe to a website, correct, but with some trick I am able to access that website. That is the concept of outsider attack. Outsider attack means I am not subscribed or I am not a member of a particular website, so I am an outsider to the website, but somehow I am able to access that data from that website. So being an outsider I can get access to data. That is impossible. That should be impossible, but I am getting the data. That is the concept of outsider attack. Next one is active attacks. Active attacks can modify the target system or messages. It violates the integrity of the system. An example of attack is DOS attack. That means so big billion sale starts in Flipkart. Now with a small software I can generate so much number of packets and can flood the Flipkart server with so much number of packets that the genuine customer who try to buy something from Flipkart does not able to access the Flipkart website. This is the example of active attack. Next one is passive attacks. Are those that violates the confidentiality without affecting the state or the system. An example is electronics eavesdropping. When attackers set up a free Wi-Fi spot and says, "Now come and enjoy the free Wi-Fi." So when you are enjoying free Wi-Fi, very few of the people may give some user ID password of their banking information, or their railway booking information, or their flight information, book my show information. So once they start submitting the user ID and password, as you have set up a free Wi-Fi hotspot, with just help of a small software, you can snip what is the user ID and password of the banking system, or the railway system, or the book my show system. So this is the example of passive attack. Next one is phases of ethical hacking: reconnaissance, active or passive; scanning, gaining access, network system level, application level, network level, denial of service level; maintaining access, uploading, altering and downloading programs or data; and last one is covering tracks. So these are the 5 phases: reconnaissance, scanning, gaining access, maintaining access and covering tracks. It is displayed in this picture like this: 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So this is the concept of 5 phases of ethical hacking. Reconnaissance, it means collect as much as information possible about the target of evaluation. That means, suppose I want to attack to a particular website. So before attacking the website, I need to collect some information, like the web server is in India or it is in US. Correct. Next, I'll try to find uh, what is the software that is used to create that website. It is ASP, it is ASPX, or it is PHP. Next one is, I'll try to understand what kind of database they are using, MySQL or PostgreSQL. Next, I'll try to learn what are the ports open in that website. Okay. Next, I'll try to learn what kind of software it is used, like WordPress it is using or Joomla it is using. So this kind of information that I collect from that website, it is called the reconnaissance. That means try to collect as much information possible about that website. Next comes the first one is passive reconnaissance, and next this one is active reconnaissance. Passive reconnaissance means using search engines, social media or news released, I'll try to find some information about the organization. Like suppose I'll go to the Naukri.com and I'll find that a particular website has given some information that we need network engineer who is very good in Cisco networking and maintaining MySQL server. So I'll get an idea, oh, their website is made of MySQL and they are using some Cisco network in that website. Correct. So this is passive reconnaissance. Active reconnaissance means I'll pretend to be a person from a technical department. I'll make a phone call to the organization and say, your website will be down in few minutes or few days. Kindly update the information. I'm sending you a link. Click on that link and try to fill it. Once you fill it, you may get some important information about this. So I directly communicate with the employees of the organization. So that is the example of active reconnaissance. Below are the techniques used by hackers: footprinting through search engine, footprinting through Google advanced search, social networking sites, email, competitive intelligence gathering, quiz, DNS, social engineering. Definitely we'll learn this at the later part of this course, and I will demonstrate in front of you this one. Reconnaissance and footprinting are interchangeably used. Attackers spend maximum time in this area. Network range, active machines, detecting the operating system, discover the ports, just now I told you, discover services running, mapping the network, organization subdomains, web server versions, email server information, contact information, because I need to make a call to the organization. Now I need to know the contact point, how to find the contact point of organization. That is possible with the help of this contact information. Whenever a website is published, contact information need to be submitted. Now how you need to extract that data. How you need to extract that data, I'll teach you gradually, don't worry. So these are reconnaissance. Next one is scanning. Attacker uses the details gathered during reconnaissance to identify specific vulnerabilities. tools that the hacker may employ during the scanning phases are dialers, port scanner, network mapper, sweepers, vulnerability scanners. So this means you try to scan the the features of that target of evaluation. Port scanner means you try to find how many ports are open. Correct. Network scanning means you get an idea how the different devices in the servers are connected. Where is the firewall? Correct. What are the devices that is uh, in front of the firewall, in the back side of firewall? Next one is vulnerability scanning. That means try to find what are the vulnerabilities available in that particular operating system or particular network. So it is possible with some softwares called Nmap, Nexus, Retina. These are the popular vulnerability scanning tool. Next one is gaining access. This is the phase where the real hacking takes place. Gaining access means after collecting all kinds of information, you start hacking that website or hacking that device or hacking that network. This is the concept of gaining access, and you give some magic password and user ID and gain access of that website. So these are the different areas that the attacker use, like buffer overflow, denial of service. Just now I told you, session hijacking in a network, password cracking, SQL injections. We'll learn this definitely in the next part. Social engineering, make a phone call to the help desk and ask for admin credentials. Direct access to a PC can capture the unauthorized data. So these are means you collected information. Now you are ready to attack that device or the website. That is the concept of gaining access, and ultimately you gain the control of that website or device. Now whatever you want, you can do this. That is the concept of gaining access. Next one is maintaining access. In simple way, maintaining access means once you gain that access, you make a backdoor in that device or that website. That means suppose there is an admin user ID and admin password. So once you get access to that website database, you create your own user ID and password and give a permission to that user ID and password so that the attacker can access that website simultaneously without being the administrator. How it is possible? Because both the administrator, user ID and password, and your setup new user ID and password, both are capable of entering into that admin page. That is the concept of maintaining access. Correct? Now these are some points given. So install a backdoor or a Trojan to gain repeat access. Install rootkits at the kernel level to gain full administrator access. Establish multiple access methods to target network. So these are the ways the attacker try to maintain that access. Last one is covering tracks. Attackers will usually attempt to erase all evidence of their actions. Reasons include they need a prolonged stay and can use resources, remove evidence of unauthorized access. Once you enter into that web server, definitely there will be a log that will be recording your IP address and user ID. Covering tracks means you are erasing that IP address and user ID from that server so that next time during forensic nobody can get an idea that from which IP address, from which user enter into my website and collected important evidence without my authorization. So these are the ways it has been done. Creating a new network access channels, steganography, encrypted tunnels, altering log files, inject false data if needed. So these kind of things are there covering tracks. Okay, thank you students. This is my class 5 and I hope you understand it. We'll meet you soon in the next slide, that is class 6. Thank you.